Hi guys, Jill here. I wanted to show you this card that I made using Altenew stamps. It's a pretty flat card, except I did raise it up one layer, as you can see. Let me show you some of the supplies that I made. I used to make it. We've got the Ranger Liquid Platinum embossing powder, as well as the Pearl embossing powder. I also used the Altenew Peony Scrolls stamp set, as well as the Sympathy saying was from the Stampin' Up! Simply Stated Heartfelt stamp set. For the paper, I'm sorry, there is a Stampin' Up! Label punch. The paper, I use the Canson. I'll start telling you what it is. This I got at AC Moore, the Canson XL watercolor paper. It's 140 pounds, cold press. I find it pretty easy to stamp on. And then I did use my Zig Clean Color 2 markers. These are the ones with the bullet tip, and you'll see that. But you could also use your real brush markers. And I show you just a little example of that here in the video. And really, you could use any of your markers. Here's two other examples. This one I used light carmine on, and then this one is pale rose. And as you can see, each of these I just used one marker for the color variations. Okay, so let's speed it up and let's watch some of the coloring. I am going to kind of jump around a little here. So this is already stamped and embossed with the Pearl embossing, and you will see that as I start to color. We're going to concentrate mainly on the one flower. I am using a water brush. I just like the firmness of that brush. So, like I said, I'm taking the marker. Now that's where I show you me using the real brush marker. The nice thing about those is you can use them on the paper wet or dry. So I'm taking the marker itself, I'm putting it on the paper, I'm coloring in the dark spots. Then I'm taking the water brush and I'm laying the water down towards the end of the petal. Then I'm putting the water towards the color and then pulling that color out into the water. And that way I get more of a gradation of color as opposed to just one blob of color. I like to work with the water on the back of my hand, as you can see. That way I get a better feel of what is on my water brush, as opposed to just kind of guessing at what's there. And see, here's where we jump ahead. Like I said, we're just focusing on that one flower. When I'm working on the petals, I like to jump from petal to petal, even with that embossing there that holds the water in. It's still possible for that water to jump from one petal to the other. So I find it so much easier to jump around and then come back to the petals next to each other. So it goes quickly that way too, I find. So see how sometimes I use the brush to actually pull the color where I want, and it's kind of a form of the technique where they use a dry brush called a thirsty brush to pull the color off of a painting. So it's kind of a form of that, and it's just lifting up the water, the color that's there, if I have too much of it down. But really I'm letting the water do most of the work here. And I really do like those Clean Color 2 markers, and I really like the real brush markers. I just love the clean colors. I just think they're great. I also have the Tombow markers and of course the Distress markers. And I just love markers and watercolors in general. And but I really like the brightness of the clean colors. So here I am over just on a different one again, and you see me touching the paper. That's to see if it is dry in one area. If the paper's cold, that means it's still wet. So that's where you just want to go onto a different petal in a different area. Okay, so I'm going to stop showing you the coloring because I'm done with the one flower, the main flower that I'm showing you. But you saw I was picking up some more of that water just with a towel. You could also use a paper towel to do that. So if you guys want to see more watercoloring, I'll show you in the future. Just let me know. But we're just going to assemble the card at this point. I just used some double stick tape, put it on the back of this, of course, after it's dried. I use this as opposed to the ATG tape because the watercolor piece, it could be more warped than a regular piece. So I really like to really stick it down nice and good with that double stick tape. And sorry, that is my dog snoring in the background. I'm sorry, I don't know how long he's been doing that. Okay, so I'm using that same watercolor paper, and I prepared it with my anti-static bag. And now I'm going to stamp on it with the greeting from the Stampin' Up! Collection. And I'm using my Versamark watermark pad, and that one has a really sticky ink as opposed to a juicy ink. And then I'm going to put that liquid platinum embossing powder on it, and I just kind of tap off the excess and put it back into the container so I can use that another time. Then I'm going to take a small brush for any stray powder that still might have been on there. These detail powders, they still pick up even though you use that anti-static bag on them. So I'm just looking at it even still just to see where there might be something else. So then I'm just going to heat up my heat gun. I want it nice and hot so it doesn't warp my paper. And then I will heat that greeting. Looked at it, made sure. And so then I'm just going to punch it out. Before I do that, I punched out the paper that I was using, cut it in half. And here's where I had a problem. I just kept thinking I only had to cut out a small piece. Ended up I had to cut this paper 3 times so I could get the punch to work on it. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to color around this with a silver marker. This is my Pilot silver marker, and it has a medium point on it. And with these, you've seen me do it before, but I didn't in this video. I trace around, and that's what you'll see in the finished product. I forgot to do it on this one, but I just trace around it with the marker, the one at the end and the one at the beginning I had done it with. But I used the Tombow multi-medium, not the multi-medium, just the Tombow glue, sorry. And then I'm just going to stick it up on foam tape. So at this point, my card is just about done. I'm sticking a second flower on top of the first one, and then it's done. So if you enjoyed this video, as always, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. And thanks for stopping by. And I do hope you have a wonderful day. And I'm really sorry for my dog snoring in the background. At least he's not barking for a change. So I do hope you have a wonderful day, and there is a picture of a different variation of this card here at the end. So have a great day.